I'm gonna be Wilson again. It's like, Heidi ho, neighbor, you know. Make this one with a pair of underwear I have. And then there's a Hello Kitty poking her head out of one of them. It's super silly and super adorable at the same time. Oh, the cat has taken over my spot. Hey, Gabby. Yeah. Hi, honey. I hope you all are doing fantastic. It is Monday yet again. Happy Monday. How are you all? Did you have a good weekend? I hope y'all are warming up. I know around here it was 50 degrees today, so that was a really nice treat. Man, after that negative wind chill, that Arctic bomb, like forget about it. 50 feels like summer around here. Hi. It is Monday. I can't believe it's another week. Another week, another Sprout interview, and man, time is just going so fast. I'm telling you. Hello, neighbor. Hey, Whiskey. I love your handle. I love Whiskey Tango. That's so awesome. Oh, and I should say thank you, Wicked Moon Design, for the follow. You followed right before stream started, so thank you very much. I appreciate you. Welcome to the stream. I hope you enjoy it. Yeah. What are you all up to today? Are you guys ready for another week? Man, I am so ready. I have too many ideas, and they're all bubbling, and it makes me all energized. I'm telling you, yes, I just drank a cup of coffee. It's almost done, and I was dead. I am very. Hey, Wicked. Hey, Wicked. Are you excited? Oh, so glad. Are you a Sprout coming in? Are you a Sprout, or are you like a normal Twitcher? Because like we have so many people coming from Sprout, from Instagram, coming in for the interviews and everything. It's been so exciting for me to see so many like designers and artists and everything coming over and trying Twitch. So I'm always curious whether or not it's somebody new to Twitch or somebody who's kind of been around the cyber area around. But yeah. I'm gonna do a quick Celiati Sprout. Never heard of Twitch before you. Really? Well, welcome to Twitch. This is like my playground, so I hope you stay a while, and I hope you enjoy it. How are you liking Sprout so far? I gotta tell you guys, it's done my heart good to see so many people enjoying Sprout. Because myself and the other designers for the Quilt Designer Collective, we really poured our heart and soul into this project. And yeah, I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry. I'm gonna be a big girl. But it's been really fantastic seeing so many people enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. I'm making the blocks. You guys can see it behind my design wall. I've got blocks all over the place. We're going to do a quick selly outie because this month I am a HelloFresh partner, #ad. And this is the second year in a row that I am a HelloFresh partner. And so, yeah, the Arctic bombs passed, but I still don't want to go out to the grocery store. I still just want to sit at home and fondle fabric. So if you're like that, click my link, get some HelloFresh, have it delivered to your door, and then you don't have to go out to the grocery store. Yeah, it's good. You're loving it. So many great artists and friendly people as well. I'm so glad. And speaking of friendly people, I should probably come on over and introduce our guest tonight, Jody of Gingerberry Quilts. Welcome, Jody. We have a new person in the chat who's a Sprout. She's never heard of Twitch before, and she just came over. And yeah, I was telling her, she was so excited. She says that she's loving Sprout because there's so many great artists and friendly people as well.
I would agree. It's been fantastic so far. It has been a real community.
It has been. Well, and you deserve a round of applause, and not just like the meme around, because this Sprout Quilt Challenge was your brainchild. This was your idea.
Well, it was kind of twigged by a podcast I had listened to that I can't remember who had talked about it, but they had done a quilt challenge like this, and I thought, hey, our community, our group of creators on Discord, why don't we try something like this?
Yeah.
So I thought, we're such a variety of people and such a variety of skills. I thought, what about doing a skill builder?
Yeah.
And this just took off, so it's been fantastic.
Right,
really
and
enjoy
the
it.
timing was perfect because we were talking about doing it for the new year, and I thought you were crazy. I was thinking, like, how in the hell are we going to design, like, this quilt and these blocks, like, within that short little window? But, man, we pulled it off. We got it
Yep.
done.
Yeah, with a lot of hard work by everybody.
Yes, it has been
a
a
lot of
team
work.
effort. Yes.
Yes, yes, yeah, yeah. TJ and Joe, all the
They've
hard
been
work they
nailing
did
it with
on
the
the assets.
assets. There's so
Yeah,
many good
that's been
assets.
fantastic. And you're taking care of all the emails. That's been fantastic. It's
All
everybody's
I
participating.
feel like a monkey just jumping around, just grabbing everybody's hard work and just doop doop doop.
Yeah,
Put it out in the world.
Me too. I'm doing is reposting on Instagram. That's I just I'm so happy people are finding all the pictures for me, and I just
Right?
repost, right? So it's been really good.
Well, and it's just it. I don't think it'll ever get old seeing somebody make your design, whether it's a block or a full quilt. Just seeing somebody take what you do and make it their own. Change the fabrics, change however they're putting it together, whatever. It's just like it makes me so giddy.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think somebody this past week took Kim's block and rotated.
Yeah, they accidentally flipped the block.
Yeah,
but it looks good.
It completely different look. It's fantastic.
Yeah,
so
I love that.
I just thought that's very cool.
Well, and it's one of those, it's like the thought of play, right? Because how many times do we think, oh, well, this is a good block. I bet you I could make it into like 10 different designs. Yep. But I sure as heck don't have the time or energy to do that. Yeah. So we'll just go with plan B or A or whatever.
Exactly. No, it's been great. And I'm trying techniques that I've never done before. So, I've learned a ton myself. I've never done a Dresden block. I'm not a great at EPP. Applique is something I'm not great at. So these are all.
You can't say that now, though. You can't. I see it on your wall. I see it behind you. You've done it all.
Yeah. Well, it's been so much fun. So.
It really has been. And your block this week is a foundation paper piecing. So it's paper piecing. It's like the cousin of English paper piecing, right?
Yeah.
What made you want to do foundation paper piecing for your block?
I enjoy it. I've done a bit of it. I'm not great at it. It takes your mind to think in a different way when you're folding the fabric over to try to figure it out. So I'm like, okay, I want to just design a simple block that hopefully makes it a bit easier for people to figure that out.
Right.
I've done some kind of complicated ones and had made some really big mistakes. And you have to work with it, right? You make a little seam where there's not supposed to be a seam kind of thing, and you just move on. But, but I enjoy it. I would say it's maybe not my favorite technique, but I do enjoy. I like them all. So I like doing a bit of everything.
I mean, that's the beautiful thing about quilting, right? It is such a huge world when you really get into it of different techniques and styles and all that kind of thing. That sky's the limit, really. There is nothing staggering your creativity, but like your want to do it.
Exactly. Try it. You may find out you enjoy it. I had never done a Dresden block. Probably would never have tried.
I hadn't either.
And I'm like, now
I love it.
I'll do that again.
I love it. Like, it was a lot of fun. And now, I think you were in the stream for Sunday with, hold on, I gotta turn down that background music. With Adele. And all I can think about is that damn phoenix with Dresden feathers. And it's like, man, I hope Adele makes that soon, because like I need to feed this Dresden itch now. I'm not.
We saw it. We have it in our mind.
Yeah, we just had that little thought, and now it's like it's growing into something huge. And I saw one of our sprouts said how they tried English paper piecing, and now they're hooked. Now they're hooked, and they've ordered their first actual big English paper piecing project, like a Tula Nova.
Yeah.
And
that's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean that was one of, I don't know if you've made that one, but it's one of my favorites. It's not too big. It's very manageable. It gives you a taste of, because it's not hexagonal really. It's pentagons, and triangles. Okay. Yeah, so you make star units. Yeah.
Can you do it with machine piecing? Like, can you sew the pieces together?
Yeah, you can do it.
Hand piecing?
I mean, English paper piecing in general is meant for handwork, but
Okay.
people, I mean, look at Susan. She came up with a whole, I've never seen anybody machine sew English paper piecing like she did. And then I know a lot of people do put it together and zigzag stitching on the top, right?
Yeah.
So that's always an option, right?
Yeah. Yeah, she did a fantastic job with her little video on showing how to do the machine piecing, because I was kind of stuck. I'm like, I'm not a hand sewer. My hands are just a little bit too, well, yeah, they're too stiff to do it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I have to machine sew. So I'm like, I'm glad she showed something.
Yeah, and it makes it so much more approachable for everybody, and I think that's one of those things we wanted to introduce these different techniques and skills for everybody, but we didn't want to say, hey, you have to do it this way, right?
Yeah.
Because like
exactly.
we're not the quilt police here. We're just like trying to get you addicted to a new technique. That's all.
Exactly.
We're just your quilty dealer, okay? It's under the table. It's okay.
Yeah, exactly. and the thing is too that try it. If you make a mistake, the mistakes come out in the wash. You know, you wash it, you'll never notice. So that's my motto is, you know, if I make a mistake, nobody will ever be able to find it after I wash.
No, and as long as I don't point it out, and eventually with my goldfish brain, I won't remember. Give me a year. Yeah. I won't remember I made that mistake.
Yeah, exactly.
So your block is named the Rocky Mountain Reflections, and it took me a while. I didn't know what the name was when you first showed us the block, and I was like, "Oh, that's really interesting. That's so modern." And da-da-da. And then when I saw the name, I'm like, "Oh, the light bulb clicked." And then I was browsing your website, and I saw that you have a quilt called the Rockies. It's not exactly pieced the same way, but are they like related, like little cousins or something?
Exactly. I was trying to recreate the similar idea with the FPP. I live about 4 hours away from the Rockies, so we go all the time to the mountains, and I just, I thought there's no other quilts that were called the Rockies or anything like that. So I'm like, okay, let's call it the Rocky Mountain Reflection.
Which is so surprising because so many states and Canada run against it. Like, why not?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And there are lots of mountain quilts. There's lots. They're all beautiful, different in in different ways. Mm-hmm. Some of them are applique, some are just regular piece. So I kind of thought, let's try a FPP one, see if it flies.
Now, I'm going to ask you a controversial question here. Who wore it better? Your Rockies quilt or the Rocky Mountain Reflections quilt? Like, which one do you like better out of the two?
I would say the Rockies quilt is easier and probably less. It would sew together within a few hours. It's a fast, easy quilt.
True.
This Rocky Mountain Reflection quilt, to do a whole FPP quilt is a heck of a lot of work and a heck of a lot of paper. So, maybe it'll work better as a wall hanging, have 4 blocks. So my idea was to have, the block on the top have the 2, and then the block on the bottom, flip them. So it's a reflection. That was the whole idea.
Kind of like into a river or a lake or something.
Yeah, or a lake, yeah.
Very nice.
So, maybe for a wall hanging, that would work perfectly.
That would be beautiful. Are you planning on releasing this as a full quilt? Or is this kind of like, I've made this block, I'm going to kind of keep it on the wall and look at it every once in a while, and maybe I'll come back to it later?
I think I might actually write it up. It won't take much to write it up into a wall hanging.
Yeah.
And then release it like that. It'll just say, make 4 of these or make whatever kind of thing. And people can make as many as they want. They could make a full quilt if they want. So I could even have the directions for a full quilt in it as well. So it just, it's a lot of paper.
It is.
And it's a lot of ripping. And
what if would you have to use foundation paper piecing if you enlarged it in general and broke it down into more regular piece? Is that a way to do it?
You could, yep.
Because then you wouldn't have to worry about all the paper, right? Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you already, looking at your, I love your pattern, by the way. I'm going to gush a little bit. I have it here, and I was looking, and I loved, do I have it? You have a breakdown of how all the pieces go together. And then, here it is. For anyone who hasn't seen, you not only have the breakdown of how all the sections go together, but then you did a color copy behind it. And I love that, because that, for me, I know a lot of us are terrible about not reading the instructions. So I'm like, okay, there's my color guide right there. I don't even have to stress about it. I know where everything goes now.
Yeah. The hard part is mentally it's flipped the other way around.
Yeah, it's kind of like applique.
Yeah. It's because, you put it together upside down and then you flip it over and then it matches what is on the page kind of thing. So that's
where your brain goes, yeah, my brain doesn't like foundation paper piecing. It just can't wrap itself around the reversal and angles and all of that and the folding. Yeah. I've done it. I have a quilt that I did maybe 5 years ago. It's a Christmas cactus. And it's this, and I used all scraps of batiks, and it's this beautiful rainbow, and it's like 15 different cactus little guys, and all kinds of the whole thing is foundation paper piece. But like, I did it then. I sure as heck don't remember how to do it now.
Yeah, I know. Even every time I pull out this block, I'm like, okay, where do I start? How do I flip the blue? How do I flip the purple? And
because it's such a different way for our brains to think. It's like a reversal exercise, right?
Yeah. And I bet you every time I worked on it, I made a mistake, had to rip out a seam and redo it because I sewed it the wrong direction. So, and that's the good part about it is I tried to make the pieces pretty big.
Yeah.
So if you cut a nice big piece, you should be able to cover the spot that it is going to flip onto.
So you're not worried about missing any corners or snags or anything like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The more I look at your block, the more I don't know if you've ever heard of her. Her name is, she's a ceramic artist, Julia Clay. Claire. Julia Claire. I went to college with her because I did ceramics and woodworking in college. But the work she does now is very mountains, like kind of what you do, but hers are more triangular with the breakdown of all the shapes instead of rectangular. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Where's she located?
She was in Pennsylvania, and now I think she's in, I want to say Northern Carolina. Somewhere around there.
I'll have to check her out.
Yeah, I can send you her link after stream because I love her work, and she does a lot of decals, which is very unusual for most ceramic artists. So yeah,
that's very cool. I took a ceramics course at one point, and I admire you guys so much. I
admire ceramic artists. I was not a ceramic artist. I was not very good. It was like I could have picked anything when I was in college to be like my major, and for some God-for-known reason, I chose ceramics as my major, and I think it was only because it was hard for me. It wasn't easy. Like everything else, drawing, charcoals, all that kind of stuff, painting was easy.
Yeah, like, so you took it where you're throwing the clay and using the wheel and everything. Yeah. Because I took 2 courses in that, and oh my goodness, you
need a lot of upper body strength. A lot of it.
Yeah, it was such a hoot though. Like really, it is so much fun.
It is. It really is.
I would recommend it for anybody just to try it. It's frustrating. Because I went with my daughter and she lost interest after one time, so because she was too frustrated. So.
Yeah,
but
that's a familiar story right there. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was a hoot.
Yeah, but coming back around to quilting, you have been a quilt designer, a professional quilt artist for quite a while now, haven't you? How long have you been a quiltrepreneur?
I'm working, I think this is going into my 3rd year now.
Okay.
So I started in 2020 quilting and then started the business at the end of 2020. So yeah, I just finished 3 years, I guess.
Only 3 years? Like you're I'm looking through your website and all of your different patterns and everything, and it looks like you've been around for a lot longer than that. Like you have a very large catalog.
I tend to fixate when I start doing something. So I will go a little crazy and I'll design like 5 at a time, get them all done, get them all out. I don't even at this point, I don't even release quilts anymore because I find that's too slow. I just, once I get it done, I just put it on my website.
And that's
So
that, and you just go.
that's that. Yeah, I get it tech edited and I do a test quilt myself. I don't use pattern testers, or haven't yet anyways. I haven't tried. So I just get it out there, and if somebody has a problem with it, I'll modify it and reload it up, a new PDF, and go from there. I don't know. I'm not very patient.
I can relate to that on a spiritual level.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you bring up pattern testings, and that's kind of like a hot button topic in the quilt industry right now. I haven't really brought it up with any of our other guests because like it's one of those things where it can get really divisive,
Yeah.
I'm not sure where you land on the spectrum of that subject.
I'm happy to pay pattern testers, but I also understand that some pattern testers don't want to get paid. Like, I kind of think what's comfortable for both of the sides of the equation is what's best. So and I've never used pattern testers, so I can't say that I shouldn't use them because I've never used them. I don't know what it's like to use a pattern tester.
Right.
I actually have been a pattern tester for a couple quilters as well, which I enjoyed it. I got a free pattern out of it. It was a good experience for me. So I kind of think, if it works for somebody that, both sides of the equation, it has to work for.
Right. Yeah. I when I transitioned from commission quilts to quilt design, and I found out about the whole system of pattern testers and everything, coming from an art background, and how easy it is to manipulate and use artists for exposure and all this other stuff. And like, don't get me started on the like t-shirt competition designs for concerts and stuff like that, like how manipulative that kind of stuff is, and like your rights as a designer and things. So coming over and like finding out that the testers don't get paid, and they're using their fabric, like $300 possibly of fabric, and their time, and like I get patterns are awesome, but like I sure as hell wouldn't pattern test for that. Like, in some places make you pay. Like, I know Adele is a huge pattern tester, and she used to do a lot of pattern testing for legit kits. And you pay to pattern test for them because of how much paper is required to make their foundation paper piecing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's a huge expense for the pattern tester and time. And it's not even taking into account the time that they spend on it as well. So, And then the exposure as well, like, the quilt designer gets to use their images as exposure. So,
for marketing. We make money off of
marketing.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And really, like, when we took the same pattern writing course, and it was presented as, this is what you did for marketing. You wanted, like, a good group of testers to share with their group to get your pattern out there to their nook of the internet, and drive traffic for your pattern.
Yeah.
And it just, and I get both sides, and but if I'm in a position where this isn't just a hobby where I'm just like, I just want to write and maybe sell to my local quilt shop or whatever, but like when we're trying to make this a business and make a living off of it, but again, and I have a Discord for pattern testers. And I brought this up because we were kind of in the middle. I was getting ready to do another call for testers. And I pretty much just put it out there that, hey, I know I said I was going to have all these patterns for you guys to do. And I was going to do another call for testers to get some fresh people in. But I just don't feel right doing it. And like, one person was working on, I have a pattern that's English paper pieced that I'm slotted to have released in spring. And she's pretty much done with all the paper piecing part. She just has to get the rest of the pattern for the applique. And I told her, you're more than welcome to keep working on it. You can post it if you want. You don't have to. I can't afford to pay you. But, you know, and she still wants to do it. And, you know, and all the power to her. She's a fantastic person, you know. But yeah, I just...
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of times too with pattern testers, they become a friend as well, right?
Yeah.
It's, you know, because
be.
the communication back and forth, you get to know each other.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's that aspect of it too. So sometimes it might be hard to even offer to pay them, or vice versa. It might be hard for them to ask to get paid as well, right?
Or to accept it, right?
Or to, yeah. So it's an awkward, for sure. It is an awkward conversation, but I think it has to be talked about.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that it's something that every designer has to have a conversation with and find what works for them, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, because who's to say what's right and what's wrong? You know what I mean? As long as everyone's consensual and agreeing to it, then, you know, who am I to say what is right or wrong?
Exactly. Yeah.
I got heavy on that, didn't I? I'm sorry. I usually don't get that heavy. Chat, I know we just laid some heavy topics on you. If you have any questions for Jody, please feel free to put it in the chat, and we will make sure to get to them tonight. Let's go back to the lighter side of things. You by day are a scientist, and I have mucho respect for you. My ex-husband was a microbiologist, and he's a pharmacist now. So like, I don't really talk about it much because like art is my thing, but I'm also a chemistry nerd.
Oh, okay.
Like, I was really big into, like, AP chemistry. I still have my original periodic table from high school with all of my notes of the molecular formula and all that stuff. Like, so I'm a little bit of a science nerd. So, like, when I found out that you were a scientist and all that kind of stuff, and your tardigrade quilt, like, I love that tardigrade. It just made my heart so happy, because you don't normally see that kind of stuff in the quilty sphere. And, like, that was just so unique. Like, I was so nerding out. It was great.
Yeah. I'm actually going to bring the tardigrade to Quilt Canada.
I'm so excited.
When the Quilt Canada starts, because our Quilt Guild is hosting us an area in Quilt Canada, and they want to have unpublished or unadvertised quilts there. And I thought, I'm going to bring the tardigrade quilt.
You should.
My little tardigrade. So
I feel like the tardigrade and Bart are like cousins.
Yeah. I just think they're cool. We have them in the lab. We have tardigrades in the lab. We do research on them. So
that is so cool, because they're like teeny tiny little guys that can live in space and live in any atmosphere, and like it's fascinating. It makes you look at life in a different way, doesn't it? Yeah, they are once they go into a ton state, so what they do is they curl up and they go into a ton state, they're resistant to almost everything. So when they're alive and crawling around, they are sensitive to stuff. But once they're in a ton state, that's when they're resistant to everything. How fast of a reaction do they have to have in order to go from each state to like persevere? Very fast.
Yeah, they go very fast. Yeah. Within seconds, they can go from, walking around to ton state.
Now, how long, for example, when they're out in space, like how long can they survive in that ton space before their body just can't sustain it anymore?
I'm not sure. I don't know how long they kept them out in, like if they're in a vacuum, their shell is a hard substance called chitin.
Right.
But it does have pores in it. So I'm kind of, I don't know. I'd have to look.
Yeah, I'd be really curious because, like, the tardigrade can live in lava atmosphere and all this, and how, because I have little kids and they talk about that kind of stuff sometimes, and they make it seem like a superhero, right? This indestructible thing. But there has to be a certain point where its body just can't sustain that anymore because it's not getting any more energy or food to sustain itself, right? Yeah. But they can stay in ton state for years. That's crazy.
Like years and years and years. So somehow they're able to metabolize very, very little during that period because they're still alive. But they've just
it's kind of like a bear when it slows down for hibernation.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, they're very cool. you can only see them with a microscope. They're tiny.
They're so tiny. I'm getting nerdy, guys. I'm sorry. I sorry, not sorry. Like,
I actually have the FPP pattern for a tardigrade if you want it.
Yes, please. Yes, please. I will bear with FPP to do that. And, you know, maybe you can come on the stream and we can make it on stream and just like have a sciencey nerdy day. I'd be so happy. Yeah. Oh man, I'd be so excited.
Yeah. Well, with FPP, you can pretty well make anything. Like any image you can make with FPP pretty well. So
right, as long as you kind of break it down into that angular form, right? Because you could do my butterfly into FPP pretty easily. Like I've seen some amazing detailed, and it feels very abstract too, doesn't it? When you kind of break it down that much.
It's very precise. Like it's very sharp lines. You know, there's a certain look to it that just is appealing, right?
Yeah.
So,
I think that's the opposite of me, really, because like even when I did woodworking and things, like I was very sculptural and very voluptuous would probably be the best way of describing it. Like that was kind of what I did, you know, the curves and the volume and everything, and I think that kind of shows in a lot of what I do is like I like those organic curves and swerves and such like that.
Yeah. And I don't work with a lot of curves. Like I think I have 2 or maybe 3 quilt patterns that have curves in them. So, you know, for me, it's more the geometry, the geometric shapes. I like them.
Hey, circles are geometric. Thank you.
I know. Oh, that's true.
Okay, I'm gonna ask like one more sciencey question, and then I'll drop the science nerd. But what made you decide to go into this particular field of science to study tardigrades and all that kind of thing?
I would say I started out in undergrad as a pre-vet, and then realized there's no vet school nearby. So then I switched to pre-med. Realized that my grades weren't going to hack it, so I ended up just getting a Bachelor of Science and got a job, and I ended up got a job in a lab, and I stayed in the lab for 9 years, had kids, got that all out of the way, and then went back to school, got my PhD, and I stayed with my
So you're a doctor?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, Dr. Jody. I am, like, sorely underrepresenting the big brains that you are. Oh, my goodness gracious.
Yeah, it was just kind of it was, like you say, it was organic. It just kind of flowed.
You let the universe guide you.
Exactly. Yeah. I kind of didn't make any decisions. So it just happened.
I mean, you had to make a decision because, like, even not making a decision is a decision, right?
True.
You could have not done it. And just kept going, right?
Yeah. But yeah, I do love it. I love the investigation. I love the, you know, trying to think of ways to answer a question. And yeah, I really enjoy that side of it. And the bench work too is lots of fun. Like the chemistry of it is fun too.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. All right, I'm going to stop nerding out, guys. I promise. We'll go back to the quilting stuff, okay? I promise. So, I feel like science and then quilting, they're kind of like very different in a way, but you keep hearing about like there's a NASA engineer who's a fantastic modern quilt designer. How did quilting enter your life?
Well, for me, it was probably like I've always sewed my whole life, curtains, tablecloths, etc., clothing. I never quilted. I had a friend probably 30 years ago say to me, "Oh, you probably would love quilting," and I said to her, "Oh no, that's for
grandmas." Yeah.
I never tried it. And then I work with a girl, Allison, from Birdie and Dot Fabrics, and she I worked directly in the lab with her, and she's a quilter and she sells fabric. She has an online fabric shop, and so we started talking fabric and we talked quilting, and yeah, she kind of got me hooked. So
she brought you into the fold, as it were.
She did, yeah.
Yeah, and for anyone in the chat, Birdie and Dot have been an amazing supporter of the Sprout Quilt Challenge. They helped supply all of the fabric at very reasonable amounts for us designers, and then they've also donated sponsored a really fabulous prize. I think it was week 1, right? That they did the fabric bundle. Yeah, so if you guys are all there looking for online, or if you're in Canada, look up Birdie and Dot. They are amazing. I can't say enough. And I got to meet them at market, and it was different, you know, because like it's always kind of awkward when you hear about somebody because you've talked about them for quite a while, and then when you actually get to meet them, it's their first time meeting me, but like I feel like I know so much about them because you've talked about them. So it's like trying to navigate, like I don't want to feel like I'm too much because I come off as a lot sometimes, right? So I didn't want to scare them. And you Canadians are so, I don't want to stereotype y'all because I know some shitty Canadians, but y'all are so really nice and polite, and yeah.
Yeah, we had a fabulous time with you guys. Like, it was so fun to meet everybody too, and hopefully we'll see you again at H&H because Allison and Leslie are thinking.
Are they coming?
As well, so
I'm excited.
They're thinking about it. So
that's so exciting. Yeah, I booked my flight, and I think I found a roomie for the show, so I'm pretty sure. I'm still waiting back to hear on whether or not I'm getting into the Creator Studio to do some more live streaming because that's what I did last year. So it would be really nice to kind of stream again and have people on, kind of like we're doing now. And
yeah. Well, I hope that goes through. That would be fantastic.
So. Yeah. There's a lot more competition for it this year because like last year it was the first time, and you know, if I hadn't have like asked Abby from Craft Industry Alliance, like, hey, are you guys gonna have like a place for me to stream? Like, they wouldn't have even had it. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. So now they know.
Now they know. And now they're having a creator summit. Yeah. They're having a whole creator summit before H&H starts now. So it's like, it's a whole thing.
Yeah. You're going to that part of it as well?
I didn't really fully know about it until like just recently. Cause like it was talked about at market, and you know, TJ's on the board, and so she had kind of talked about it, but there was no final decision until recently. So like I had already booked my flight. So I'm coming in the day that it's happening. So I don't know if I'm going or not. But then I got an email today that my flight has been changed from the air flight company actually changed my flight on me. And so because of that, they're allowing me to change my flight at least twice. Okay. To kind of make up for it. So it's like, okay, well, if I need to, I could probably scoot it back a little bit if I wanted to make that. Haven't decided yet.
Yeah, you're coming on your own this time, or family too?
I'm trying to sweet talk Oshemi. Oshemi, you in the channel? I know he's trying to learn how to video edit, because that's kind of, I talked to a video editor today. Kids and money. Yes, that's true, but we might have somebody to watch the kids. It's just a matter of like money. He says if I sell 500 pedal dance patterns, then it's a go. It's like, okay, $50 pattern. Let's sell 500 of them. That makes sense.
You never know.
I'm not video editing. I may be playing Pal World. Well, I guess I'm hiring a video editor then. I think that's the decision then, huh? Oh my goodness gracious. But yeah, this will be your first time coming to H&H, right?
Yeah. I'm actually, I really enjoyed Quilt Market. That was a blast. It's intense. It's overwhelming. There's so much to see and do. Yeah. I think H&H is going to be just as good. It's a different angle, maybe?
I think you'll like it better, to be honest with you. Yeah, because this was your first market, right? Yeah. There's like a level of formality. I don't know if you noticed it or not, but there's like that kind of barrier almost, it feels like sometimes, especially when you're somebody new who's just trying to get established and talk to people. I don't know if it'll be the same this year, but last year, the atmosphere at H&H was very different. It was very approachable and very casual, right? Like, people that I wouldn't have even imagined getting a chance to talk to had no problem just, like, shooting the breeze with me and giving me their time, which I thought was fantastic.
Yeah. So were these some of the same people who were at Quilt Market that are at H&H, or are they different?
Well, so H&H is kind of like an umbrella, right? For the fiber community in general. So there'll be A lot more thread and embroidery and yarn. A lot more artisan yarn. And oh my god, the artisan yarn. I used to do, I crocheted since I was like 9 or 10. And I never stuck with it because it took too long. Here we are making quilts that take us 5 years. But crocheting takes too long. But man, it made me want to get back in. It really did. And there's places that come over from Japan and from France and all that kind of thing. So it's a very eclectic community, right?
Yeah.
And it feels like a younger audience as well. Like there's a lot more people with my kind of hair.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Well, and I think too, like TJ, and both you and TJ got contracts from H&H, right?
We did.
You were able to meet people and develop contact, and
and it's all about making connections and starting that road, right? And kind of feeling everything out, and kind of like I'm working with Alysso now, right?
Yeah.
That started because of H&H.
Yeah.
And they've been fantastic. And they're one of the sponsors for Sprout as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of wonder what they think about H&H versus Quilt Market. Are they have a better time at H&H? Is it a little more casual for them as well? Like, I kind of wonder about that too.
Yeah, I'm not sure for Alyssa specifically, but I know I have a friend who works with Ruby Star Society, and she was telling me at H&H this past year that there was a lot more fabric companies last year than the first year, right? Because they wanted to come see and check it out and feel it out. And when I was talking to the head moda rep that was there at H&H, they said they had a great turnout, they had a good time, and that they would be back.
Okay.
Like they were enthusiastic about it. So I don't know. I think there's more fabric companies coming this year. And there's talk about like a fashion show and them doing their own kind of spree and that kind of thing. So,
That's pretty cool. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I haven't told my husband yet that I'm going. But...
What does your husband think about all the quilting? Is he like sciencey too? Or you don't really talk much about him?
No, he's an accountant.
Oh, well, mathematics, that kind of ties in, right? I mean, it ties into both, because mathematics is prominent in both, very much so. So
yeah. No, he's totally on board. He was the one who encouraged me to get a long arm, and he likes watching it, moving and stuff like that. Like
it's fascinating.
He's
right?
Not artistic at all, but I think he does appreciate.
Neither is Oshemi, but he still wants it. He wants it so he can set it up, and like. It is so funny. I don't know if I've told you what he wants to do with the long arm. Because it's like, sure, he wants to, like, edge to edge and make money and quit his day job, sure. But, like, what he really wants to do is set up a Twitch stream of it and set up an AI chat box that talks to the chatters in an AI voice. So it's like, it's the long arm streaming.
Talking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's like when you watch it too. It's like watching a fire. You can just stand and watch it.
It's ASMR.
If you have the robotics, right?
Yep.
It's awesome.
Well,
so I can see that might fly.
I was actually I met somebody. I wish I could. I'm such a goldfish brain. I'm so bad with names. But I met this person in passing on the last day of market. She was dressed in Ursula. That's why I stopped her, because I love Ursula. I'm like infatuated. But we were talking, and I guess she was a type of mental health social worker kind of thing. Like that was her profession, kind of like Lori in a way. But she was saying how for rehabilitation and things like that, how great quilting is because of the rhythmic right to left, back and forth, and it like aligns with brain rhythms or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, and she's like, yeah, when you're really stressed and anxious, you take your right hand and you squeeze and then let go, and left hand squeeze and let go, and then you repeat that. And it just back and forth, and it's the same kind of rhythm that a quilt machine does with the needle going up and down and up and down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that really fits. Like I know a lot of people start quilting as a way of dealing with some mental health problems or anxiety or whatever, right? Depression.
Yeah.
So I can,
When we
art
say
is
quilting
a
is our
way.
therapy, we're not kidding.
Yeah, it is. It is
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah. Yeah. Now that when you mentioned that, the whole right hand and left hand thing, I was just thinking of, how cats, they can make biscuits.
Oh yeah, they biscuit, and it's just like, and I love it when they make biscuits. Like they're on your lap with a blanket, and it's just like,
Oh, yeah.
oh, I don't want to move. I have to go to the restroom, but I am not moving for you, kitty cat. You can biscuit all day. I'm okay with this.
Yep. Well, I have two of them are just over there staring at me. So.
Oh, is it dinner time or is it snuggle time?
No, it's restless time. They're racing around and they got the zoomies. So.
The zoomies. They didn't even need catnip.
Nope. The weather's changing here. Like we're going from, today was minus 12 Celsius, and we're supposed to go up to plus 9, I think, by Saturday.
Wow.
So above 0.
That's
so
warm for you.
Yeah.
Like when Joe is talking to, and Joe and Lori are talking about negative 60, and I'm like,
it was miserable.
Nope.
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
And people say too that, minus 20 and minus 40, there's not much difference when you're outside. Yeah, it's cold, but there is.
There really is. It's
there really
death.
is. It's 20 degrees.
Yeah, it's that's a huge difference. Like,
yeah.
And it's so funny because it's all relative, right? Because like we all bitch about how cold it is, and like one person will say, "Well, it's not as cold as here," and whatever. Same thing in the summertime. And I just have to laugh because it's like, well, what is your body acclimated to? What are you used to, right? It's all relative on our life experiences. My sister still lives in California, where I was born and raised. And I keep trying to talk her to come out here to Colorado, because it's cheaper to live out here than California, even though it's more expensive than everywhere else. But she's like, oh, I can't do it. It's too cold. I can't do the snow. And I'm like, honey, I got a friend in Canada that just told me it was negative 60 degrees. Like, you can handle a little bit of cold. It'll be okay. It'll be okay.
And, with toques and mitt and a good boots and good coat, you're good to go.
Or you just stay inside and you snuggle with a cup of coffee or hot cocoa and you don't go anywhere.
Exactly.
Boy, howdy. Chat, you're quiet tonight. Wake up over there. I know I killed you with the science, but time to wake up. Ask me questions. I need your attention. I am a greedy whore for attention, okay? Give it to me. Sorry, sometimes I have to bully chat.
Good. They need a little bit of bullying.
They do. They need a little bit of a poking. Like, you guys are getting too comfortable over there. You guys are all snuggled up, getting ready. Because I know for, like, Stitch, like, we were hanging out in Discord before getting on this call for the stream. And she's like, I don't know if I'm going to make it to stream tonight. I'm like, you don't have to come because I know it's so late there. And she's like, yeah, I was in bed at 9:30 last night.
Yeah.
Oh, Purple is to the rescue with our question. She is always with the questions. She is the lifesaver, okay?
Yeah.
She asks, what other services does Jody offer?
I also do long arm quilting, edge to edge just right now. And I also do custom quilts, custom wall hangings. I make bags.
Do you sell your bags? Or
do
you?
Yeah, I do in-person markets, and I also do Etsy, and I have a website.
Wow, that's a lot.
A little bit of everything.
That's a lot to juggle.
It's not bad. The sales on my website aren't great. That's the hard part, is getting traffic to your website, right?
Yeah.
Etsy's been really good for me, and I'll stay there for a while, I think, as long as I can, because that's where a lot of customers are too. So it works for me. I know a lot of people have trouble with
a lot of the marketing now.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't have to deal with that because I'm not good at that. It works good for me. And I know some people really have trouble with the fees that Etsy has and stuff like that. But I think for me,
on their 5-star seller
system
is a little janky sometimes.
Yeah, but otherwise, like my husband being an accountant, he said too, would you have sales if you didn't sell on Etsy? And I'd be like, nope, I wouldn't. So, I'm willing to pay that fee to be on Etsy.
Yeah. That's got to be hard, though.
It is. Yeah, it is. It's, when we add up the Etsy fees at the end of the year, it's like, ooh.
How
And I
much you
also
paying?
offer free shipping. Yeah, and then,
Oh,
the
wow.
shipping, that's a whole other issue.
Yeah. Like we could boil that into a whole business conversation right there.
Oh
Like
yeah.
holy
Yeah.
moly.
Well, Canadian shipping is insane.
Oh
Like
my god, don't get
Canada
me
Post is,
started. I
yeah,
sent I
I
sent
know.
the butterfly to Lori and it was in purgatory because they wanted $160 in fees or whatever.
Yeah,
Import fees.
yeah.
And I'm
Did
like,
she get that figured out?
yeah, she
Oh, good.
she broke it out. She broke it out of purgatory. It is now
Oh,
up
good.
on her wall, safe and sound, for a fraction, itty bitty little microscopic fraction of what they were trying to get
Oh,
out of
good.
it. Um,
Yeah, that's outrageous.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't even want to tell you how much it cost me to ship because it was like, ah, shit, I'm so behind. I gotta send it like. And honestly, it was next day shipping, but that was like the economic shipping. It was nutty.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
you Canadians,
Yeah.
gosh dang it.
I know. We just make it hard.
You do. Now, Lori Purple also asks for you to talk about your barn quilts and how you're inspired to make them.
Oh, okay. I make, they're like one block barn quilts, and they're usually traditional designs that either I've seen them on the internet somewhere or wherever, through EQH, a lot of the block library as well. I've used some of those as well. But I make them out of fabric versus wood. Traditional barn quilts are made out of wood, and they're usually put on the outside of a building.
Yeah.
They started, in the 1700s kind of thing. They're big and popular out east.
Yeah.
Not so much here. There's a few, I think, in BC. Not any that I've ever seen in Alberta. But out east in Ontario, etc., and
East
out in
Coast too, where I was
East
at in
Coast,
Pennsylvania. Like
there's
there
lots.
was somebody who was doing metalworking barn quilts.
Oh,
Yeah. So
yeah.
it was like the outline made out of like casted steel or something. It was really.
Oh yeah, they're beautiful.
Yeah.
They're beautiful. Like there's a lot of tradition behind them. I grew up on a farm, so
Okay.
for me, it kind of, it feels natural.
Comes around
to
full
work
circle
on
for
them.
you. Yeah.
Yeah. So I kind of think they're pretty cool. I sell, quite a few of them. So
Now, do you sell the patterns or you sell the finished quilts?
the finished quilts. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because they are just a block that anybody could make. So I don't feel right selling a pattern for a barn quilt, just because it's.
How big are you making them though?
They're about 18 inches, 20 inches by 20. They're just a square. So you put them on your wall.
You should be charging for the pattern.
No.
Why?
They're free from EQ8 or whatever, right? So I don't want to sell them. I'll sell the finished product, but yeah, the actual pattern itself, I kind of think.
But what if you altered it and made it a bigger wall hanging, so it wasn't just the single block from EQ8, and you made them like a bigger thing? Would you feel better and more comfortable about charging for a pattern then?
Yeah, if I modified it, yeah, I would do that for sure. But yeah, that actually hasn't really been on my radar at all. It never really even occurred to me that I should sell them.
Well, I mean, all right. So here's my question to you, because I know it's been kind of a topic that we've approached in our Discord and that kind of thing. And man, I hate getting like all synergy wordy. But like, what would you boil down your niche to?
That's the hard part.
Right.
Yeah, that's the hard part. I would say color. My niche would be modern. Like that was, when we took that course together, that was the hardest module for me, was trying to come up with my niche. So I did tend to move towards like retro and mid-century modern.
Yeah.
But that niche has been filled already with a number of quilters. So I kind of think, okay.
There is really more room in the sea, and the world is so big, Jody.
I know.
There's plenty of room.
Yeah.
We've talked about that before.
Yeah. But I kind of think that maybe I hadn't really figured it out yet. I'm still trying to figure out my niche. So
I'm on your website, and these barn quilts, these blocks are beautiful. These would be beautiful,
like,
large quilts.
Yeah.
Like, if you made them full size, like, people would go nutty for them.
Yeah. And I use Juicy Juice for them. I use
Yeah.
his in twine or whatever fabric because it has texture to it, and
Yeah.
it's that woven
I love it.
fabric. And yeah, I love it. I love making them. They're really fun.
That's a whole section. Well, it doesn't have to be your only niche, but like, if they sell really well and you enjoy making them, that's something to think about, right?
Yeah. The other thing I was thinking about was maybe science related stuff. Like, maybe I start to make tardigrades. Like, maybe I try to sell the tardigrade pattern, or I try to sell whatever, something scientifically related, and see if people like that. But that's also very niche, right? Like, somebody who's
it really boils it
not
down,
a
doesn't
scientist, would not buy it, right?
Right. Well, and I kind of have this. I don't have the exact same issue as you, right? Because there's so much intricacies to how we all run our businesses. But, like, you've seen the kind of work that I'm producing and selling right now, and they're small, but they're art quilts and they're applique, and that's where my focus is. And there's a level of I don't want to say refinement to them. Hi, kitty cat. But there's like the other kinds of stuff that I make on stream and such. Like, that's the other side of me, right? The nerdy, the memey, the pineapple pizza, and that kind of thing. And I love that stuff too. And I had a very huge confliction of, like, these two things. Like, my pattern bees and peonies does not sit side by side with pineapple pizza, right? And I think that's kind of because you kind of have the same naming structure. Yours is Gingerberry Quilts, and mine's Art Quilts by Design. We're not running business as these are quilts by Sondrasa, right?
Yeah.
Like, so that allows us a bit more room to wiggle and to have subsections, right? Like, I've been thinking about it quite often because I've had people go, well, I'd buy pineapple pizza. I'm like, yeah, you and maybe 12 other people, but, like, I don't know if my general audience would buy it. Yeah. But, like, if I had a So Nerdy Seams as a subdivision, and treat Art Quilts by Design as a publisher instead, and look at it that way.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, and you could do the same thing with Gingerberry.
Yeah. Have a scientific section. I have a barn quilt section. I have a quilt section. Like, definitely, that's a great idea. And like, I kind of thought too when we were taking the course that why do we have to niche down so far when I enjoy making so many things that if I can handle running, like you say, 2 streams of style, why not?
Yeah.
And you market them differently.
You do. Right? You market it differently, and it can be a little taxing. And the example I would say of why we narrow it down into a niche is because it brings repetition and a level of consistency that clients like, right? For example, here on Twitch, for example, I am a creative streamer, right? We talk about sewing. I sew projects and I quilt projects. For a while there, I was really trying to bridge and be like a variety streamer. And because I'm a huge gaming nerd, I love to game. Excuse me. But the two audiences between streaming and my creative didn't really bridge very well, right? There are some streamers who can pull it off and pull it off really well. But my community just isn't one of those, right? It's either one or the other for them. And a lot of variety streamers deal with that. Like, they might get into a game for a month or two that they have a really big turnout, their chatters are really active, and, you build a community and they'll say, oh yeah, I'm here for you. I just want to watch or do what you're doing, to play whatever you want. And then you play something that person's not interested in and they leave. And a good chunk of that community leaves. And then you're left rebuilding all over again.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So there's that kind of side to it. Like if we were gonna have an example situation, right?
Yeah.
I feel like you've already established a really strong presence with your vine quilts, right? And yeah, it's just one of those things where you, like, I don't have the energy to have another Instagram of So Nerdy Seams and run that on top of Art Quilt. Like, I don't run an Art Quilts by Design Instagram. I have the handle, right? But I just run everything as Sondrasa.
Yeah. Yeah, but then everybody knows you have those two sides to you, right? So, and then
I've
probably
made
how
it
you
very
post.
prevalent and it takes repetition and talking about it over and over again. Because there's certain sides to me that some people just don't know about because it's not something I talk about on a regular basis, right?
Yeah.
Like me being a science chemistry nerd, right?
Yeah,
That's not
exactly.
I don't fit into that box, right?
Yeah.
They like to fit us into boxes, and when we kind of go against the grain, it can be a little hard to accept, right?
Yeah.
And I'm happy in my box. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So you say you have the two different types of Twitch that you work on. So you have your creative side and you have your gaming side. Do you run them separately, or are they all through your Twitch TV / Sondrasa?
So that was something that I had to keep coming back to, of this conundrum of, all right, well, do I keep gaming here? Do I make a new channel? Like, I've developed my YouTube and I'm posting things on YouTube, right? But my YouTube is called Art Quilts by Design. And then I have my personal Sondrasa YouTube. So if I ever want to take any of my old gaming streams that I've saved and recorded, I could upload it there. Because I'm a big RPer. I'm a role player in the gaming community of Arc and Atlas and things like that. So I love doing that. And I have those recordings, and, you know, if I wanted to, I could do that. But I had to come to a decision last year that I was going to focus on this channel's growth as being just a creative streamer. Because for the last 2 years, Twitch does this thing where it's called a, hey Lana, welcome to the chat. Twitch does this thing that's called a recap, right? And it tells you not only as a viewer, like, who your top streamers you watched and what top games you watched and all that kind of stuff. But as a streamer, it also tells me, like, what were my top 3 categories that I streamed, how many follows, how many subs, how many gifts, all this kind of statistics. And I love the statistics. I love digging into that kind of stuff. And for 2 years in a row, I was in the top 10% of creative and making, which is the category we're in tonight. And I wasn't even really trying, right? It was just, that's how much I was doing. If I remember right, I met you at DPCC, Dever PopCon. Oh, yes, I remember, Lana, because you were, God, what is her name? You were the tiefling, Celtic tiefling. Oh my God, I'm gonna have a... Yeah, no, I remember. I follow you on Instagram too. How are you, dear? Sorry, I told you, I'm a goldfish. I can't remember shit. Cool.
You remembered this one, though.
Yeah, I did. Well, because she remembered where she met me. Yes, Jester, you were Jester. Oh my gosh, I love that. Oh, so Lana is a cosplayer. Are you still cosplaying, Lana? And so Denver Pop Culture Con, there's a D&D group that streams here on Twitch called Critical Role, and they're huge, like, so big. And I'm a D&D nerd on top of everything else, because, like, of course I'm a nerd, right? But we were in line to go see them live at Denver at the event, and she was, like, right in line next to us, and so we got to get to know each other, and yeah. So,
that's very cool.
Yeah. And, you know, cosplayers, they're coming into this quilting realm and into the sewing realm. And so, like, cosplayers are our cousins. Like, they're our nerdy sisters from other misters, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like...
Yeah. Well, they should be coming to H&H. right?
Lana, you should come to H&H. Not currently. I'm in my
Okay.
last year at college, gaining my bachelor's in apparel marketing and product development. Oh, that's so exciting. I am teaching sewing at the college I'm going to. That is fantastic. Congratulations, Lana. You should come to H&H Chicago. Not just because, like, I want to drag you along and see you again, but, like, you would love H&H Chicago. Like, I mean, Chicago's great in and of itself. Like, Chicago's one of my favorite cities, honestly.
Yeah.
I wish the convention center that we were at for H&H was actually the one that's on the bay there. Like, right on the water.
Right?
Yeah, but instead it's the one across from the airport, which is fine. But I love I love walking a city. I just love it. That sounds fantastic. Yes, you should come. You should. I will DM you on Twitch or whatever, or you join my Discord and we'll talk in the Discord, and I'll give you all the information, because I think you'd really like it. It would be so up your alley. You'd love it. And now I've derailed from what I was talking about. I'm so sorry, Jody.
That's okay. You were talking about having two separate streams for Twitch.
Yeah, right. So I'll try and not digress too much more on that topic, but I decided that if I really wanted to grow this channel, and not just this channel, but my community, because community is such an important element for me. That's why a lot of this, like, and we do it in our Discord as creatives. We're about lifting each other up and celebrating each other's victories and not being petty and jealous. Like, I'm sorry, I didn't get along with people in high school as it was. Why in the hell do I want to do high school all over again and play this popular game or what? No. Fuck off.
Yeah,
like, no way.
For that, right? Yeah,
no,
exactly.
No time for that. So, like, and that's what I want to do. I want to have a community and build that up and support each other, and it takes a lot of work and a lot of time, and it's something that I hadn't really been paying not enough attention to. For as much as it's important to me, I hadn't really been doing enough of it. And this Sprout Quilt Challenge has been fantastic for it. Right? Like, there's been so many people that I've connected to that have DM'd me about how much they love this and how they appreciate that we're doing this. And, you know, they'll ask me questions about how to do this or that, and I'll give them, and they're like, they're so grateful that I just took 5 minutes to answer a question. I'm like, why wouldn't I?
Yeah. Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
And our Zoom meetings too on Thursdays and Saturdays have been fantastic. We've had people from all over North America come, and the UK, like Adele was there too. So it's like, it's been really, really fun. And meeting a lot of people. I've been shocked how many people are from Edmonton or from Canada.
Right?
You know, and
you guys are representing the Canadian there. Like, I'm getting all these A's coming in. Like, I'm fine with that Canadian love, man. Keep bringing it.
There's a little hotbed of Canadian quilters here, so.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, you live in the coldest part of the world almost. Like, what else are you gonna do but, like, stay inside and quilt? Right? You gotta make quilts to stay warm, so then you make more quilts to stay warm. It makes sense.
The funny thing is Hawaii has a really big quilting culture as well.
They do. Hawaiian quilts, I love those.
Yeah, theirs is a lot of applique. I think it's turned edge applique.
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm. And it, like, fantastic. I don't even think I could do it. It's just
it's not that hard, honestly. Beautiful. But the special thing about Hawaiian applique, because I went to Hawaii a while ago and I was infatuated, to be honest with you. My ex-husband's youngest sister is an OBGYN for the Army. And so she was based out in Hawaii, and when my oldest was like not even 2 yet, we flew out because, you know, kids under 24 months fly for free. Whatever. Okay, this is a great idea. Let's fly 16 hours with a little baby on my lap. Whatever. But it kind of, with Hawaiian applique, it tells a story, right? Mm-hmm. That's the goal of it. And then I was always fascinated with how they construct it. Because I have one that I'm working on for my sister that she loves turtles. You know, and turtles represent family and all that kind of stuff. Like, I have a sister tattoo of a turtle on my arm that my sister also has, right? But the way you make it is you fold it kind of like you do. Remember when we were kids and you would get the coffee filters and you'd fold it to cut and then make
Oh, yeah.
snowflakes? It's the same
Yeah.
thing. But instead of folding it a lot, you're only folding it into fours, into like quarters.
Oh.
And
Okay.
then you're
Yeah.
cutting out and repeating,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
you just fold it and then it unfolds and there you go. So you're only doing one cut really. And that's how they get the intricacy.
Okay. Okay. I'll maybe have to look into that.
Yeah.
Like you could probably do it with raw edge applique as well. Like is
You could.
it very traditionally turned edge?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Because the turned edge is hard for me.
It is, and the one I'm working on is just a pillow, and it's taken me a while because I decided, all right, if I'm gonna do this, I want to do it the way it's supposed to be, and I actually went around and did a basting stitch, because you're supposed to come in like a little more than a 1/4 inch in and do like a running kind of basting stitch around the whole outline. That way, as you're going around, you can just tuck your needle, tuck the material under, and then it's only coming to that basting thread. So you get a pretty nice, consistent curve.
Wow, that's a great idea. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that would make a huge difference because I was like with the block we had a couple weeks ago, Joe's block, I believe, was the turned edge.
Mm-hmm.
And I was ironing and starching and it wouldn't stay under. And
well, and hers is very different for a turn under. Hers is very angular, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I ended up using the freezer paper method. I still actually have my template. And I wrote Bart children's book because everybody in the Zoom keeps telling me I should write a children's book about Bart. But yeah, so I use the freezer paper to really kind of get in there and then to be able to kind of fold and get the crease and not have to fiddle fart with it as much.
So I've never actually understood how freezer paper works in that situation.
Isn't that
like
funny?
Is this like wax paper or is this like
Yeah, because the
parchment
freezer paper has that one side that's really shiny, that's waxy, right? And then the other side is parchment, right?
Okay. Okay.
So you treat it, it's like as if, like with my butterfly that you did, you know, you use like a heat and bond or an iron-on fusible, right? And you have to reverse it and you have to make sure that the one sticky side is the side that goes against your fabric. It's the same thing. So you make sure the shiny side is down and then you press your iron on it and it sticks for just a little bit. It doesn't stick for very long and it doesn't leave a residue like heat and bond does, right? But that you got to be real fragile with it because again, it comes off really easy, right? So just working in small sections helps.
Okay, I did not know it stuck.
Yeah.
Because I hear it all the time. I'm like, I have no idea how that works.
Yeah, isn't that funny though? Because it's like you wouldn't think it, but I feel like the waxy side of it warms up just enough to kind of stick a little bit, right? Yeah.
Okay, I'll have to try it.
I have all the tips here, right? You come to the one-stop shop for applique, I guess.
So what would be your favorite type of applique?
Oh, shit. You had to ask me that question.
Yep, I've got a whole list here of questions.
Really?
So.
Oh my god.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you're so much more prepared than I am. I don't ever write anything down. I just talk. Like, I don't think.
I'm a list maker, so.
You are. You're analytical. You're
Yes.
Yeah. My favorite type. So that's kind of a dual-sided sword for me. Like, as far as my art in general, I would have to say the raw edge, right? Because raw edge allows me to really get those details, those itty-bitty sharp points, and the really wacky curves and things like that. I just did Petal Dance back in October, and that was all turn under. And I love turn under. It's very zen for me, except for when I'm in a 1 month crunch time and I'm absolutely losing my mind. But I was able to do the turn under for most of that fairly easily because they were larger pieces with gentler curves, right? There were a couple that were a little funky, and, because I was using the Hugs and Kisses, which is the water-soluble iron fusible, I was able to kind of fiddle fart a little more with that and not have to fuss as much, right? But as far as, like, portraying my art, like, before I became a designer and really started taking commissions and things, and just doing quilting for me, I did a quilt that went to AQS Daytona. APQS, I can never get those abbreviations right. But it's this scene of this druid, and it's more like a dryad druid because she's sitting there. She has antlers and she's holding a fawn, right? And she's underneath this big oak tree where its roots are coming out of the ground, and she's like surrounded by water because she's like on a little inlet and all that kind of thing. And that really allowed me to express and get all those details and use multimedia and really kind of explore that, right? Whereas I don't think if I was doing Turn Under, like I've done a Tree of Life Turn Under that was very non-traditional. It still had the roots as a Celtic knot, but all of the branches which were mimicking the Celtic knot and the tree leaves and everything, I did it all Turn Under. But it was very finicky and very frustrating because Turn Under doesn't want to make teeny tiny little branches, right? It just, there's nowhere for the fabric to really kind of go in without puckering out on each side.
Yeah. Probably the smallest piece you could do is a 1/2 inch, right?
I made smaller.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, because I like torturing myself. You've seen my 16th inch English paper piece hexagons, right? Like, I like to torment myself with impossible things.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to do a whole quilt of that.
No, and I do have a plan for that eventually. But I think that's the beautiful thing about quilting is I am never without inspiration. I just have all these different ideas and I write them all down, and maybe one day I'll get them all done. But
yeah, I have a folder on my computer that I save screenshots of stuff that I see or buildings. Like I have a quilt that I took a picture of a downtown building here in Edmonton, and I designed a quilt block based on that building. So it's like
I used to love architecture when I was in high school, and I would take pictures of all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I have an FPP pattern that I've designed that's one of those buildings that's what are they called? They're a very sharp corner. There's one in New York.
Yeah.
Flatiron building.
Yeah.
So there's a town here in Alberta that I grew up in called Lacombe, and they have a Flatiron building there. So I have a picture of it, and I designed an FPP pattern based on it. So I have to do that one sometime.
That is really cool.
Yeah, and it works perfectly. Like, the angles are beautiful. I just love the angles on
I'm excited.
buildings.
You have to make it now. Like, I need to see this now.
Yeah, I do want to make it. It will be a tough one though, because it's like it has shiplap, I guess, boards all the way down. So it has lots of angles to it. There's windows.
But that's perfect for FPP, which is the technique that you did for Sprout. Like, everybody who's doing Sprout should be ready to go for that pattern, because we're master FPPers now, right?
Hopefully.
When you do FPP, do you use any special type of paper, or do you just use regular printer paper?
Regular printer paper. I do a very, very, very short stitch though.
Okay, so it perforates it. Yeah. Okay.
That I found has been the easiest. I tried to do lighter paper, but it's more expensive, right?
It is.
Just buy the cheapest printer paper you possibly can and use that. And then a very, very, very short stitch. Like, I think I can't even remember. It was very short, 0.5 something.
Yeah.
So.
Teeny, teeny, tiny. You don't want to get it wrong, because trying to rip those stitches out is going to be, it's a kitty. I know. She has 2 kitties that keep coming by, and they're beautiful.
Yeah. I've got 4, actually.
4. What's this kitty cat's name?
This is Leo. He's special. He's got stomach issues. Aww. So he's our special kitty. Special kitty.
Hi, baby. You coming to say hi, huh? You're like, I want attention too, Mom.
Yeah, he's hungry. He's
always hungry. You knew it was coming. You knew it was coming. Yeah. Oh, kitty cat.
How's your kitty doing?
She's doing better. Yeah, she's stubborn old kitty cat. She's 17 now, and we just keep loving her, and just she has an issue, and we just keep going,
Yeah.
because one of these days it's going to become a thing where it's medical, and we're not going to be able to do anything about it. You know what I mean? And then I'm going to have a devastated Oshemi. We'll be devastated too. I'll be devastated too, because I'm not a cat person, but goddamn do I love this cat.
I know.
I'm a dog person, thank you very much. I want a corgi with a cute little fluffy heart butt that wiggles around when it walks, and yeah. But I do love my kitty cat. Her name's Gabby.
Yeah, no, they are. They're very loving.
Well, I've never had my sister's had a cat, but I've never had a cat that was that loving. Like, when I was a kid, we had a cat, we named her Callie. She came from my grandpa up in the mountains, because I lived in SoCal, up against the foothills. Because my dad was a firefighter for the National Fire Service, so he did the wildfires up in the mountains, right? So she came home with us, and then she disappeared for a little bit and came back covered in ticks, and my dad took them all off. And she was our outdoor cat from then on. Like, she was around for like 15 plus years, which was a long time for an outdoor cat. But she wasn't the kind of cat to come up and get pets, or to really, like, she might come by and sniff your finger if you're sitting on the back stairs. But, she'd come up at night and get her food and fight the raccoons for food, and that was about it. So, like, I'm not used to a cat being so lovey, and I didn't even know what biscuits were until I had Gabby, and I'm like, what is she doing? Looks like she's baking biscuits on you. I'm like, okay, I like this. All right. Maybe I'm sold on this. Okay.
Yeah, I've had lots of cats, and I would say the majority of them aren't lap cats. The ones I have right now are all lap cats.
Oh, so lovey-dovey. So
which
one is this
one? This is Wyatt.
Wyatt.
Yeah.
Oh.
So they're all lap cats. So they all try to get on my lap at the same time. So yeah. Anytime I'm on the computer, guaranteed they're coming on my lap.
Have you ever done the trick where you get a second keyboard and you plug it in and it just sits next to you, so they'll sit on that warm keyboard and then you can use your keyboard?
That's a good idea, because, it's annoying.
Yeah. Gabby, before we did the renovation down here in the basement, she loved my cutting table. Like, in the intro video, you see, she is sitting on my cutting table, on my fabric. Like, that was always her favorite place to be, because, like, fabric is comfy, and then I have to, like, pluck every minuscule little hair off of my fabric. Thank you very much. But, yeah.
That's the one thing you'll have to remember if you do get a long arm, is there's hair everywhere. If you're doing client quilts. So I have those
she stays upstairs
roller
now.
balls.
Yeah, we've gone all ghetto. There's like chicken wire around our railing of our stairs, and there's a baby gate so she can't come down. So it's a pretty hair-free area besides my hair.
Yeah, good. 'Cause I must say that's the one thing I regret, is allowing the cats downstairs, because there's hair everywhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, when I'm working on customer quilts, I roll them good before I give them back to
roll. Yeah.
Yeah, just to get all the hair off. And I feel bad. Like, I know some people are allergic to cats, and I always warn them.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
So yeah, I always warn them. I am not, I'm not pet free. There will be hair.
This is a cat love house. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
That's a good idea for the kid. Yes, I know, Lana. Isn't it a good idea? You're gonna have to get it. Like, I don't know about you, Jody. My keyboard, I've got what we call a gaming keyboard, and it lights up.
Oh yeah.
I gotta have my RGB.
I do have an old keyboard downstairs in our office that I could set up beside me on the couch, and they can go to town.
Yeah, you just plug it into that way it's actually, like, on and heated. Because if you just have it sitting there, they're not going to want to touch it because it's not warm, right?
Yeah, they know.
They know.
Right? They know right away. Yeah. We don't give them enough credit. They are smart.
Cats rule the world. Are you kidding me? Like, if I was a cat, I'd be living high and mighty. I'm telling you what, I'd be a fat cat. That's for sure.
They have a good life, I must
They do.
say.
Most of them do. Yeah.
Yeah, most of them, yes. Yeah, yeah.
Very true.
So are there any other questions that anybody
All
has in
right,
the
chat.
chat?
You heard Jody. Do you have any questions for our lovely lady of the evening? You guys, I know that Lori's gonna come in with another question because she is fantastic and saves the day. But I know there are a lot more of you out there because I see you lurkers. I know I love you all lurkers. Lurkers unite. But you can
How
come out
many,
every once in a while and come say hi. I don't
yeah,
bite.
how many
Well,
people are
well, we've
watching right
got
now?
32 watching right now, which is actually really good. The
Okay,
Sprout Quilt Challenge has a nice consistent 32 32 to 36. And then I'll check the stats cuz I like the stats. We'll have 500 people watching the VOD. That's
yeah,
what they clock it as. It's really interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, like I must say today when my block came out, I was getting messages on my phone and it was just ding, ding, ding,
Right?
ding, ding.
And then your
And it's,
your website, you keep getting dings
yeah,
about your pattern getting bought and downloaded and
downloaded.
all
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
yeah, it was
that's
so
exciting.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
still getting
like I
people who
remember.
are downloading my block. And I'm like,
Oh, good, good.
holy moly.
Yeah. Do you still have people like signing up too, going onto the landing
Yeah,
page?
it's definitely slowed down because we've entered week 4. So the newness is kind of worn off, I think, a little bit. But yeah, we still have a couple people trickling in here and there. So that's I
Oh, good.
mean, I'm still blown away about how many people actually signed up and wanted to partake in our challenge.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. Me too. I am, and seeing all the progress pictures too that people are posting, it's awesome.
yeah.
Like, that's been fantastic too. And I'm trying to find them all to repost them
Well,
so
and that's
they
why
get
there's
out
so
there.
many of us cuz there's still things that I missed that I'm like,
Yeah,
"Wow, I didn't even see this."
yeah, yeah. Same. I'm so glad you guys are catching some of the ones I can't find.
Right? Well, and it's nice because everyone's sharing them on their stories, so then I can just click everybody's stories and check it.
Yeah.
So we've got 2.5, and of course Lori here to save the day. She asks, "What is your favorite quilting tool?"
Uh, I know it's the seam ripper, but everybody says that. I would say my add a quarter ruler.
For
If you're
foundation paper
doing,
piecing, yeah?
yeah,
Yeah.
they are a game changer.
I have
And
that one somewhere around here.
I rarely say something's a game changer, but it has this little ridge right here
Mm-hmm.
that,
Nests right up to the paper.
yeah,
Yeah.
and you zip. Yeah, you don't cut your finger. So,
Which is
because I was
always
just using a
helpful.
skinny little one
Oh my
before.
goodness.
So, yeah,
She also asks, because chat, Purple Peony Poppy has saved your butts tonight. Okay, I want you guys to know you're all on notice. All right. She asks, what is your favorite quilting tip?
quilting tip: wash your quilt when you're
Really?
done because all the mistakes are gone. You'll
Oh,
never.
that's true.
That's like if you're like, oh, I made a mistake there and I made a mistake there.
Do
Just
you
wash it.
wash your fabric first? Or are you a
No,
what? Okay, but do you start
no,
your fabric?
no,
Okay.
no. I don't. I didn't even used to iron.
Really?
But I bought one of those little mini Oliso irons, and
Yeah.
those are awesome.
Did you
So
see the Tula Pink ones?
yeah,
I
they're
have
very
a
cute.
big Aliso and I have a mini Aliso, but man, do I want a Tula Pink one, especially the big one that says "Don't feed the fishes."
Yeah, yeah.
Aw.
Birdie and Dot sells them, and she said they just came in, I think a couple weeks ago, and they're gone.
Yeah.
They're gone already. They're pre-sold.
Yeah.
They're gone. So
Boop.
yeah, they're very popular. Yeah, yeah. Tula's pretty awesome. I met her at Quilt Market, and yeah, that was pretty cool.
We have an ad going on in the Twitch, so we're gonna hold on the big question that Lana has asked, which is a really good one. Whiskey asks that she really hopes that we get together at H&H.
Yes, for sure, for
Yeah.
sure. I plan on hanging out with you guys the whole time.
Yeah, we'll have to have a dinner because last time it was Megan, Susan, TJ, and I. I don't think I'm forgetting anybody. I feel like I'm forgetting somebody though. Well, Ash was there too. But we went to dinner and we'd meet up and all that. It was really nice. And it was funny because like we would meet up because there was like this big sitting area in a Starbucks right outside. And we would sit there and we'd talk and then we'd go out and we'd all go our separate ways and maybe we'd run into each other on the floor a little bit. And then we'd all somehow meet back up at some point like there and just like hang out. Oh, your ad's over. Okay. So this is Lana's big question. Do you ever dye or batik your own fabric for your quilts? I recently finally got the chance to use a tajanting tool and batiked fabric for a scholarship submission, and it was so fun and beautiful.
Oh, I've always wanted to. The interesting thing is my kids learned how to batik in junior high or, like maybe grade 6 or something, and they brought home their samples of it, and it was fantastic. And so ever since then, I still have them. I've always wanted to batik. I've never done it. Fabric dyeing, like the actual like ice dyeing and stuff, I've never done that either.
I haven't either.
Yeah, it's not something
there
that
are
has come
some
across
people
my
that
radar.
are really good at it and fantastic, and like I know Mel Beach, she does her own cuts, block print cuts that she does on fabric, and then she'll embroider on top of it, and it's beautiful. And but I can't bring myself to make that mess. Well,
no, and that's the thing too, right? It's a huge mess.
So that's my conundrum there, because like one of the things I hated about ceramics when I was doing it, and don't get me wrong, I know there's a lot more colors than just like normal colors, but the palette that I would have for high fire ceramics was it was just boring. There wasn't enough of the rainbow for me, right? Like I could raku, I could low fire, there was crystalline glazes that I learned how to do. Okay, so when I say I'm a chemistry nerd, I'm a real chemistry nerd. Like, in college, they offered a ceramic molecular type class where you got to learn all the little bits and pieces that go into making glazes and all that kind of stuff, and, like, the levels of magnesium and all that kind of stuff. I aced it. Everybody else hated the damn class. I loved it. I absorbed all of it. But even then, when I have all these chemicals and powders to mix together and experiment and make my own glazes, whether it was thick or thin or clear or whatever, it still was such a limiting palette. And here I am in fabric now, and the palette is never ending. Whether it's batiks or regular printed or digital printed now, like, the world is unending for me. And I feel like if I were to get my hands on dye, I would just muddy it up and I wouldn't be happy with it. Not compared to, like, I have a friend who is a designer for island boutiques, and I'm working on a quilt right now with a new line that is going to be premiering in their lookbook in like April. And I'd rather play with somebody else's creations. Because I have people all the time, because I do the art quilting. They're like, well, why don't you design fabric? Because I have no interest in that.
Yeah.
No interest. Joe's amazing at it.
Exactly, right? Yeah. I've dabbled with trying to figure out how to do a repeating pattern, but it's a heck of a lot of work. And I like other stuff. So maybe in the future, who knows? But right now, I'm happy with what I'm doing.
Lana says she loves dyeing. Maiwa, Maiwa had natural pigments too if you're into sustainability.
Okay.
Nice. That's good to know.
Yeah.
I think that would be a fun workshop, right? Something to do and kind of try. And who knows, maybe it is something that eventually I might get into, right? But
yeah. There was a lady at Quilt Market who made her own fabric. And she used, I think, fruits.
Yeah.
To make the designs, or I can't remember
the natural dyes of the pigment. Yeah.
And that was very cool. And you can get some pretty intense colors.
You can.
From some of the
Well, look at Sue Spargo.
Fruit.
Right? Yeah. Like, she's in the world of wool, right? And for the longest time,
wool was always these prim and neutral and bland and coat and argyle and, sawtooth, whatever. It was that kind of world.
Yeah.
And then Sue Spargo comes in. She's an artist from South Africa. She's living in Ohio now. Her and her sister start dyeing wool, and you're getting these magentas and fuchsias and limes and things that no one had ever seen in wool before. And, I love that. I made a little thing here, and you can just see.
Oh, that's so cool.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I made a narwhal for my little guy. I designed a narwhal, because of course I did. Yeah. But, you see more of these colors now, but when she came around, you didn't see that. And so for somebody like that who has the passion to play and make these kinds of things, I'm all for that. Right? I'd rather support you in doing this because you love it and you're passionate about it. Right?
Yeah, exactly. They have the talent to do it right now.
They do.
And yeah, for me, it would be just, I would be almost diluting what I'm doing now if I wanted to take on another technique or craft or whatever. So,
night, TJ. Thanks for coming, TJ.
Good night, TJ.
Lana says she also raised milking goats, and I'm looking into getting Angora goats for their wool and making my own fabric, but I live the apparel industry. Oh, you must love the apparel industry. I want to spin fibers into yarn and then use looms, etc. Lana, I have a friend. Her name is Brenda Dunce, I think is her last name. She spins and creates her own fibers. She actually has had several articles in Ply magazine. Her specialty is God, what kind of rabbits are they? It's a very specific long-haired rabbit that she takes their hairs and makes fibers and makes wool and spins it. So I can send you on her way, and I bet you'd really dig into that.
I didn't know you could get hair from rabbits.
Yeah.
That you could spin.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, the Farber art world is so beautiful.
Yeah.
So
Once
beautiful.
upon a time, I wanted to get a farm and get alpacas and do that and make wool and stuff, because I was really big into crocheting and knitting and amigurumis, because they're cute and chibi. Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up on a sheep farm, and we did have an alpaca, and we tried to shear it. And actually, alpacas don't have natural lanolin when you're shearing, so they're so hard to shear. Because you almost need your shear has to have some kind of oil. So for sheep, they have lots of lanolin, and shearing them, their lanolin actually helps. It makes it easier. But with alpacas, they don't. So we burned out the clippers on them, and then we had to shear, or we had to cut his wool off with scissors.
Oh my God.
So
I'm glad I didn't go into that. I'm glad I am here as a quilt designer and not as an alpaca. Angora is used for both rabbits and goats. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Okay. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it must be long enough to be able to spin the hair, to be able to twist and
Yeah, Brenda I believe she used to raise her own rabbits specifically for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with these Angora rabbits, then, do they get shaved? That's how you harvest
I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. Maybe Lana, do you know? Because I know that's what she does, and I'm not a very good friend. I wish I could deep dive into those kinds of things a little more often and remember, right? Because I know people tell me things, but it doesn't mean I remember.
Yeah. Well, and those little details, right? Sometimes you just don't get the little details. Hopefully the rabbits aren't killed to get their hair.
No, I'm sure they weren't killed. That doesn't seem like something she would do. I know. One of the hard things for me, and you might have noticed it at market. I don't know. Maybe I pulled it off, but I have a hard time hearing. Sometimes when I ask you to repeat what you say, it's because I didn't really hear you. And then you'll say it again, and then I feel awkward if I have to ask you to say it again, so I'll just be like, oh, okay, but I really didn't hear you. and I have no idea. And I'm just trying to struggle to hear like the context of what's going on to kind of like piece together. It's easier with my headset, right? Because like I can turn that up as high as I need and do that kind of stuff. So I can, but yeah.
Yeah, I have tinnitus, so I have something similar where it's like I have that hum always in my head.
I can't stand that.
Yeah, you get used to it. You just get used to it. But
that's kind of like me, because my ears constantly pop, and it's a constant high-pitched pop, pop, pop.
Yeah.
And honestly, when the popping stops, sometimes it drives me more nuts because I'm so used to the popping.
Yeah.
Lana's not sure with rabbits. She thinks they might shear them.
Yeah. Okay, that would make more sense, because then you could, the hair probably keeps regrowing.
Yeah, because I would imagine you only get so much. Like, you'd have to raise, like, a bunch of rabbits at the same time to get, like, a skein's worth at that one time.
And be very expensive.
Yeah.
Probably, too,
well, and it's one of those things where it's a luxury, right? It's a luxury fiber.
Yeah.
Yeah, I took some really great pictures at H&H of just these giant walls of fiber, of yarns spun, and they're custom, like, hand-dyed and beautiful, like,
I can't wait to go.
The textures and the colors and just, like, taking that all in. And I love, okay, so I'm gonna gush about H&H again, like, surprise, surprise. But I loved the fact that it was the whole fiber industry as an umbrella, right? Because they've been doing H&H cologne since '69, right? But this will be the 3rd year for H&H Americas. So they're kind of used to that in the UK, right? And here it's different. But I got to meet so many other professionals that are, like, adjacent, right?
Mm-hmm.
And collaboration-wise, and kind of just, like, there was one person who we talked a little bit, because I do a lot of hand stitching, and for her, she had these little kind of oil that you rub on your yarn. So when you crochet or you knit, you get this fragrance, right? It's like a smell therapy kind of thing, so like lavender and stuff. And I got a sample of her stuff to try on thread, because if it works on yarn, why wouldn't it work on thread? And then I could hand sew and get that same kind of odor. But I wasn't too sure how the oil was, like, if it was an oil-free substance, and how it would work, not only just going on the thread, but then getting absorbed into the fabric, right?
Yeah, and leaving your residue behind.
Yeah, like, I wasn't sure, you know, and it was one of those things where I got to have that sample, and I got to experiment and give her my feedback, and, you know.
Yeah. Did it leave a residue? Like,
not that I noticed. Not that I noticed, but, you know, I think maybe sometimes it might depend on what kind of fabric, right? Mm-hmm. It's kind of like using starch that is a potato starch, right? Because, you know, if you use a potato starch, I found this out living in Pennsylvania, because a lot of those people, those quilters, because I was part of a quilt guild out there, they had been quilting for a long time out, and they're in this rural area of Pennsylvania, and so, you know, they kind of know a little bit more about that kind of stuff. But I guess potato starch attracts bugs.
Oh.
And so even though you've washed it, that potato starch has absorbed into those fibers into like a molecular level. And so, like, you might have a quilt that's like 30 years old that starts developing holes because you have little potato bugs that are eating the potato starch of your material.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah. But it's that kind of thing that sometimes you just don't know. And it's the same thing like with our hands. Our hands are so oily, and you're not supposed to touch a paper as you're drawing, because your oil on your hand can leave the residue, right? Yeah. And turn everything. But we don't know until, like, time goes by how much of an impact our hand is going to have on our art.
Yeah, when I was in high school, I took drafting, and we had to draw without touching our hand to the paper.
Yeah,
it was
I can't do
very,
no, I get charcoal and pencil all up my hands. Like, no, I can't do it.
Yeah. No. So when I was watching your when you draw your art, you draw it in pencil first, right? And then you draw it with like a fine tipped marker of some type.
Depends. Lately I've been doing a lot of Sharpie, especially if I'm doing it on stream, because the thick tip Sharpie, like I'll have a fine tip if I'm doing like applique that really needs to be precise. But like for the most part I'll do the thick tip because it shows up better and they last longer.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you then erase the pencil after?
Not when I'm drawing.
Okay.
No,
Yeah.
and really honestly, I'm just recently this last like year and a half moved a lot of my editing over into Adobe, into Illustrator. Because for the longest time it was all just pencil based. Right? And so I would make these drawings for quilts and mug rugs and things like that. And then if there was an error or something was not proportional right, I had to redraw the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Learning Adobe allowed me to take that initial, because each step that I'm drawing, pencil to pen to ink to whatever, I'm editing as I go. I'm redefining that line and figuring out where it goes. And so with Adobe, it makes it so much easier to say, oh, you know what? This is not large enough. This is not small enough. I need to rotate it. It's made my life as an artist so much easier. And I'm so sorry that I didn't learn it sooner. Right?
Yeah.
But everything happens for a reason in the way it's supposed to. I fully believe that.
And I think learning the physical drawing aspect is essential still, right? Like
it really is.
That's the essential part of being an artist is using your hands and using a medium that you can touch. Like
I'm a very tactile person.
Yeah.
Like when I was in high school, that's when Photoshop was really taking off and digital media was really taking off. And I don't know if you remember Deviant Art. Like, that was the place to go for digital art and all that kind of stuff. And I just wasn't good with Photoshop. I just couldn't handle my hand and staying steady and doing those drawings and things like that. 100%. Lana is totally in agreement. But, yeah, it's just one of those things. And, I mean, that's kind of why I call what I do with my thread sketching, right? Because when I draw with pencil, there's a movement. There's a hand, right? There's the artist's hand in it. Mm-hmm. And when I go to fabric, I can clean a lot of that line up. So it's more stagnant. But then I can add the thread back in and get the same movement. And maybe in a different way, right?
Yeah, you're adding texture and you're adding a layer and three-dimensional with the thread art,
a little bit, yeah. I'm not...
Yeah.
See, that's why I don't call it thread painting, because thread painters, it's layer upon layer upon layer, and they're getting, like, all these textures and weaves and color and light coming through. But for me, like, the fabric is really what I want to sing. And the thread is what's coming in and giving that accent or giving that definition of, you know, because sometimes when I'm drawing like a cup, for example, and I'm drawing the cup and it has that lip, and the lip is supposed to kind of cut with a shadow here and here because that's what my pencil had. Well, when I'm doing it in the fabric, I don't do it that way because, like, it just doesn't work. So then I can take my thread and come in those spots and add that definition back in and make it look like it's a different dimension. You know what I mean?
Add a bit of shadow, almost, right? Yeah.
Or like, I love doing hair. You know, whether it's drawing or thread sketching, doing hair and getting the movement and the curves, again, the voluptuous curve and flow, right?
Yeah.
And just getting those different layers of light to play. Especially like batiks work really well for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I've done a few pet portraits, and those are like, that's applique too, and then you're thread painting on them, and that's a lot of fun.
It gives you that next layer. And then sometimes I'll even take colored pencils or pastels or something like that, and I'll come in, especially like watercolor pencils. I love doing that because then I can take that sharp color line and really kind of come in and then take that water and kind of bleed it in to give more shadow, especially like with faces. Right? Because faces, there's so much shadow and dimension. But if I do it all in fabric, it can kind of feel a little patchy and wonky sometimes. So sometimes it's just easier to come in with another color.
Yeah. Yeah, like
night,
with fabric.
Purple.
Oh, good night, Purple. Like with fabric, doing faces, it's like you say, it's very angular. But if you see it from a distance, then that's where you
it
start
all
to
layers,
see
and it's like doing construction paper or something like that, or even just like when you have the painterly way that they're using purples and blues for their darks and shadows.
Yeah, exactly. It's not black. It's there's still color there. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I was a goth kid and then an emo college kid. Like, I like black, right?
Yeah.
But nowadays, like, black just isn't deep enough in a weird way, right? Like, I want to really get in there. Sure, I'm going to use black, but I want to get in there with a deep purple. I want to get in there with a deep blue. Because then I can contrast it, and then that contrast of that orange or that yellow with that other color really makes the statement, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I love fondling fabric.
I know.
It's my favorite thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Jody, it has been such a delight having you on the stream. It really has. Yeah. And I feel so bad that, like, it kind of came around to me a little more than I wanted to. Like, it's supposed to be a feature of you. I know you did, and I'm so upsetty spaghetti about it.
Nobody interviewed you yet, so.
They're not supposed to. This is my show, right?
We need to find out stuff about you, too.
No, you don't. No, you don't. There's nothing to know, man. I'm an open book.
Lots. We learned lots tonight, so that's good.
Bollocks.
Yeah, no, you're good at this, so that's awesome.
You know, I am trying really hard to get better about accepting compliments and not being so awkward about it, but it's still not easy.
Yeah.
We were talking about that before stream, about how it's just expected for us to be so humble and, like, why don't we sing ourselves our praises? Yeah. Like, we're not...
Yeah. Like, there's some stuff we're good at, so...
Yeah. We need to be accepting of that.
Exactly.
Yeah. But you know what? I've got a great bunch of friends who tell me I'm awesome and kick me in the butt when I'm getting to be mopey butt. So, you know... I can't be too sad for too long. Not with great friends like you guys.
Yeah, exactly. Our group is awesome.
They are. And I think more people need groups like that. We need to be more supportive and uplifting of each other. Because, man, we just lived through such a historic episode. And if that doesn't bring us together in some way, then what is wrong with us, right?
I would say that's been the best thing that's happened in the last 3 years is Zoom or live stream or whatever is.
It has made it more prevalent with the community at large. Because, like, I've been streaming over here for 7 years. It's been here. I've been talking about it for a while. I've had articles on Craft Industry Alliance, and, like, everyone just kind of wrote me off. Like, I went to Quilt Market 2016 talking about this. And everyone just kind of looked at me like, what the hell are you talking about? Right?
And now here we are.
Here we are. And, you know... People said the same thing about YouTube. Like, oh, no, YouTube won't catch on with an older generation. It's for the young people. It's a young person thing. But look at YouTube. Look at how many people and the diversity and the ages and all that kind of thing. Like, you can't tell me YouTube's a young person thing anymore, right? If anything, TikTok's a young person thing. Because I don't get TikTok for shit. Like, I'm on there and I'll watch some things, but, like, I don't get it. But, like... Don't tell me that the older generation that is our core of quilting community can't understand what Twitch is, what this is. In a time where everyone feels so lonely and they don't feel like they have a community and we want to bond with people, like, you can't tell me that this isn't the way to go. Yeah. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It's fulfilling a need, is connecting people.
I'm going to drag people here kicking and screaming whether they like it or not, so they better all get used to it and get along for the ride, because buckle up, guys. Here we go.
Yeah. It's been fun.
Well, I'm glad you've enjoyed it, and I hope you consider coming back onto the stream sometime, and, we could have sew days. I love just hanging out and sewing, not just, 20 questioning you the whole time, but, actually getting to see some of your techniques live would be fantastic. I would love that.
Yeah, that would be really fun.
Yeah.
I would be up for that. I even have some of the technical equipment now, so.
Ooh, yay.
I've got a ring light and a magnetic holder for my phone and everything.
Well, and my hope is to slowly get you all used to Twitch and used to the idea of streaming, so you guys can, because I'm teaching that OBS workshop for the Academy of Virtual Teaching. It's a 2-parter, so there's no excuse for anybody. I mean, to be fair, I'm orienting it towards video production for people who want to make YouTube videos and things. But it's the same kind of principles. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, this is pretty easy.
It really is. Every time one of you guys have had an interview, you always say the same thing. I don't know where you want me. I don't know where to go. It's guys, I'm just going to call you on Discord and we're just going to chat. It's really
easy.
Yeah, it is. It is. As long as you're used to talking a lot, that's all that matters. Yeah.
Exactly. And I would say it's easier than Zoom because there's not a bunch of heads on the screen, right?
Well, except for when we do interviews like this, there's multiple people and multi-streaming too. That's a thing.
Yeah. But I would say this is very easy.
It's very approachable. Yeah. Well, my dear, it is almost 10 o'clock. We've been going for 2 hours strong. Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So I think if anybody has any last minute questions, I know Purple's left, so you guys are on your own. So if you got any questions, you guys gotta speak up now, because forever hold your quilty peace. Yeah. Is there anything? This is the sell-outy part, Jody, where you get to talk to us about where we can find you, your website, your social media, all that good stuff. Sell out to the world. I want to hear it.
Okay. I'm on Etsy as Gingerberry Quilts. I'm on website gingerberryquilts.ca because it's Canadian.
Yep.
And Instagram Gingerberry Quilt, Facebook Gingerberry Quilt. So
Gingerberry Quilts everywhere. And guys, I just put her website into the chat. That'll take her to her homepage. You guys get to see all of her beautiful quilts. Very beautiful, colorful. There's quite a bit of mid-century modern going on with your designs. You have your barn quilts, and then you have your modern, Yeah.
And everything has color. I love color. So
yeah, I love it. Especially I see your tennis elbow quilt pattern.
Yeah.
That is a fun one. I want to make that now. That's pretty fun.
That was fun. And actually that idea came to me from watching, I think it was the Australian Open with Serena and Venus playing. So it was, It's the half square or the half circles are they're drunkard's pass, but it was that part of the tennis ball and the lines are
going back and forth and
Yep. So
I used to do tennis lessons back in the day, so
yeah. Have you tried pickleball at all?
No, I haven't.
I haven't either. My daughter played it a couple weeks ago and she loved it. She said it was a blast. So
we might have to try it out sometime. I know my kids are really big into blue. I'm really big into bluey, and so there's been a lot of talk of rugby and that kind of stuff too.
Oh
yeah. So there's a whole world of things to learn and get into.
Yeah. No, it's good to see some of these sports come back again, right?
It really is.
It's just something different for people to try.
Well, I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, for some god unknown reason, croquet was a big thing.
Oh.
We had a croquet set that we'd set up.
Yeah.
And you never hear about it anymore, but it's I kind of want to go get a croquet set and set that up for my kids. Though I think my 3-year-old with a mallet and a heavy ball is probably a bad idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, there's lots of those lawn games they're a blast, bocce ball too, right?
And badminton. I loved badminton.
Badminton.
That was a lot of fun. And ping pong.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're so good. We had a ping pong table in the basement here, and I got rid of it when I set up my quilt studio.
Sorry, kids. It's time. It's time for the long arm. The year of ping pong is over.
Exactly.
Well, thank you, Jody, so much for coming on this stream. It has been an absolute delight to get to know you better and really get to talk to you about your inspirations and what you do.
Yep. Thank you very much for hosting me.
Yeah,
that was a great time.
I'm glad. Well, I'll see. We'll cut out from there, and I'm gonna be all antisocial, and kind of wrap it up from here, guys. Thank you so much to everybody for coming out and seeing Jody and with your questions and just being awesome. You know, it's been such a delight, and I'm so glad that I've gotten to share my quilty friends with all of you, because they are fantastic and talented and so diverse in what the kind of designs they do, you know? And I'm glad I finally get to share that with you guys without just telling you, oh, my friend, yeah. But yeah, we're going to sell out just a little bit. If you've enjoyed the stream, hit that follow button. If you have a Prime subscription, those might be going away, so make sure you drop it in there and, fund my fabric fondling addiction. How about that? Also, if you guys are interested, I am a HelloFresh partner for the month. The second year in a row being a partner. We're really excited about that. If you want to spend more time sewing and creating and not going grocery shopping or spending a lot of money on food, because heaven knows how expensive food is right now. I don't want to talk about our grocery bills. But HelloFresh is there with like a 65% discount for you and a breakfast item for the life of your subscription. So it's all good. If you don't want to, don't worry about it. It's whatever. I'm just glad you guys came. I'm glad to get to share this with y'all. And Lana, it was so fucking good to see you, honey. We gotta connect and do all the fun things, cause like, yeah, that Denver PopCon was so much fun. Like, that's some of my favorite memories. I still have like the picture of us in front of with all of that group of Critical Role fans. Like, I still have that on my computer. Like, that's happy memories for me. But anyway, guys, I'm going to end. I need to eventually get some sleep, but Pal World is calling my name, so I'm going to get out of here and go play a video game. So, night, guys. Love y'all, and I'll see you Wednesday when Megan from So Simply Meg joins us, and she gets to share her block for the Sprout Quilt Challenge. Night. Ah, wrong one! I'm professional.